I completely agree, and I think we're seeing some progress on that. In the conversations now that are beginning about looking to the NATO summit in Warsaw, people are talking now about the sense that one of the downsides of Bucharest in 2008 and the decision led by the Europeans not to give Georgia and Ukraine map was that somehow the door had been closed on NATO enlargement. And people are beginning to say, we need to show that that door is open, and the way to do it would be in the NATO summit in Warsaw to say that Macedonia and Montenegro should be members of NATO and are on a membership track. I think that would be a very strong signal. It does not raise all the issues about Ukraine and Georgia membership that have been very controversial in Europe, but it's a way to show that the door remains open on NATO, and I would hope that the EU would find a way to send a similar signal. And I think one of the things, and I'm going to get into trouble for this, but one of the things the EU needs to think about is President Putin's strategy is to create frozen conflicts that then freeze countries between Russia and between the EU, on the theory that the EU would not touch them if there is a frozen conflict. Well, what if the EU took that off the table and said that in the same way they were willing to take the Greek portion of Cyprus into the EU without the Turkish portion, that frozen conflicts is not a barrier for countries to move forward on a track for EU membership. Let's start taking away levers that support Russian policy. Let's show that the door is open to NATO by taking Macedonia and Montenegro in, and let's find a way for the EU to make a clear statement that a frozen conflict is not a reason why a country cannot move towards EU membership.
And, you know, not lose focus on progress that has been made. The Balkans is a place where I've had a chance to visit and to hear the concerns and to see real progress between Serbia and Kosovo, to see Croatia, to still feel concerns about what's happening in Bosnia. And we can't lose focus on what's going on in those countries, because they then go backwards. And when they want to, Serbia wants to continue their pathway into the EU, and they're still waiting for the EU to respond in some areas. Stephen talked about Macedonia and NATO, but one of the things that we don't want is, because of the latest crisis, whether it's Ukraine or Georgia or where it is, to allow us to lose the focus on the progress that's been made in those countries, where they are still looking to get into the EU, they're still looking west, and we need to continue to encourage them.